and today we are going to be reading the story about the unforgiving servant. Let's get into it. The kindly old king was awake with the dawn. "Today is the day," said the king with a yawn. He popped out of bed, put his crown on his head, and dressed himself quickly in robes of bright red. He ran down the stairway as fast as he could and climbed on his throne made out of monkey pod wood and sounded the gong, "Bring me muffins and tea, and send all my messengers in here to me." It's probably the muffins and his tea and the king with his gong. The messengers came, and the king sent them out, with orders to ride through the kingdom and shout, "Whoever owes debts to the king must repay. Be at the palace by sundown today." Before long, a crowd of 800 or more had gathered in front of the great palace door. That's a lot of people. 800 people. I don't know if I know 800 people. They swarmed up the stairway and filled up the hall until there was no room to stand in at all. All the people all the more than 800 people in there. That'd be a lot of people. From high on his throne, the king watched with a smile. Beside him, the treasurer sat in a pile of books. There were books on the table and chair and more on the floor stacked up high in the air. "Now let us begin," said the king. So they did. They brought forth a money box, opened the lid. As people came forward to pay what they owed, that huge, mighty money box soon overflowed. Then up to the treasurer's table there came one servant scarcely could utter his name. He trembled and said in a voice very low, "I haven't had any money to pay what I owe." "What?" roared the treasurer. "Then you will find it's Law 33 we use on your kind, a law that says clearly," he ranted and raved, "that you and your family will be enslaved." The servant ran up to the kindly king's throne and threw himself down on the floor with a moan. "Oh, please, sir, I promise that somehow I'll pay. Give me some time to scurry away." "Just how many pieces of gold does he owe?" the king asked the treasurer standing below. 10,000, the treasurer answered was loud. 10,000, exclaimed everyone in the crowd. The king raised his hand and they quieted down. "That is a great deal," said the king with a frown. "But I shall use mercy. I hereby decree your debt is forgiven and you shall go free." thank you, my king, cried the servant with glee. I'll always remember your kindness to me. His heart was so happy he wanted to sing. What a wonderful, merciful, kindly old king. He ran from the palace with wings at his feet and almost bumped into a man on the street. You, cried the servant, smiled, disappeared. He grabbed the poor man by his hair of his beard. You owe me some money. By heaven, I vow, you'll pay what you owe me, and pay it right now. Oh, please, cried the poor man. I promise to pay. Just give me some time to discover a way. So the servant who was able to be free from the money that he owed the king, he's now to his servant not being so kind. Time, laughed the servant with cunning. Time, laughed the servant with cunning and greed. In prison you'll have all the time you will need. So saying, he dragged the poor man off to jail with no lawyer, no trial, no money for bail. The news traveled fast, to the servant's dismay, for the kindly old king heard what happened that day. Find him, he ordered, and bring him to me. The kindly old king was as mad as could be. Just 10 minutes later, the sad servant stood before the great throne made of monkey pod wood. Today, said the king, I showed you mercy to you. I canceled your debt, and then what did you do? You walked out of here, and the first man you met, you threw into jail for not paying a debt. How shameful and wicked! Why couldn't you be as kindly as I and let him go free? You don't deserve mercy. The servant grew pale. I hereby command you be taken to jail. To prison he went, and long as he lived, the servant who couldn't forget and forgive. And that's the end of our story here today. So just to go over what we learned about today was kind of a way to tell us how God loves us so much, and God is our King, and He forgives our times when we mess up or when we make mistakes. And sometimes we forget to do that for others, and sometimes we are like that first servant who prays to God and be like, please, so sorry for what we have done, but then the person next to us will be like, oh, why couldn't you share with me? Why couldn't you do this? So it reminds us to be a little nicer, or we should be nice to others. And yeah, see you all later.